right, good evening. We call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Directors of Oxford Preparatory Academy. July 10th, 2018, 5 o'clock p.m. open session, 5:15 p.m. closed session, 6:15 p.m. open session. This agenda is modified July 9th, 2018, 5 o'clock p.m. Added items Roman numeral 3 F5, Roman 3 F6, and Roman 3 F7. Meeting location is Oxford Preparatory Academy, Saddleback Valley Campus, 22882 Lumont Drive, Lake Forest, California. In teleconference locations, Oxford Preparatory Academy, South Orange County Campus, 23000 Via Santa Maria, Mission Viejo, California, and the Renaissance Hotel, Palm Springs, 888 East Talkits Canyon Way, Palm Springs, California, 92262. Call to order. Mr. Jackson, Vice Chair.
Present.
Yeah, let me feel in your office. Ms. Trichet, Secretary.
Present.
Mr. Teeple, Member.
Present.
Ms. Campos, Member.
Present.
And Mr. Haney, Chairman, present. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is approval of agenda for regular board meeting for July 10th, 2018. It is recommended the Board of Directors approve the agenda for the regular board meeting for July 10th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? This motion passes. Mary, did you?
Yes.
Okay, unanimously. Next item, public announcement of reason for closed session. Following matters. A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code 54956.9D4. B, conference with legal... Can you pick that up? B, conference with legal counsel, ongoing litigation, Government Code 54956.9D1, Oxford Preparatory Academy versus Enlightened Learning Solutions, and Oxford Preparatory Academy versus Chino Valley Unified School District. C, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code 54956.9D2, 2 matters, and D, employee discipline, dismissal, release. Do we have any comment cards on closed session items? We do not. We will now move to closed session then at 5:13 p.m. All right, we return from closed session at 6:58 p.m.
Sorry.
There is nothing to report out. We move on to communications. First, comments from the Board of Directors. Ms. Campos, do you have anything to share?
Mary, that's you. Do you have anything to share? Board comments?
Mr. Jackson.
I would just like to recognize all of the super efforts of staff, parents, teachers during this this time. We've got lots of things going on. It seems like we always have lots of things going on. But anyway, I just want to recognize how positive the conversation has been. And so it's a very emotional time. It's a stressful time. And so it's a combination of events that sometimes makes it difficult to stay positive and keep moving forward and looking forward. And I just want to recognize that I've seen such amazing correspondence, healthy. I'm not saying take the words away. I'm just saying keep them positive, keep them forward looking, keep them forward moving. And I can say that I am so proud to be part of this community that is able to be going through a time like we're going through and still be keep it so grown up, keep it so positive. Anyway, I really appreciate that, and I think it's an incredible commentary on our community, and I want to just let everybody know I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Teeple, would you like to follow that?
No comments.
Mr. Say?
I second Mr. Jackson, and I also would like to not so much, I mean, apologize for my outburst the last time at the last meeting about the LCAP. And it wasn't personal for the people who prepared it. It's just because I know what we need to do, and when I get those things in front of us and, and we have to make a decision right away, it's kind of frustrating as a board member. And we have responsibilities, and I really would like us to move away from the little mistakes here and there, and then expect us to agree with it and then go back to it. Those kind of things really, really need to stop. And that's why I was frustrated. It wasn't anything personal against anyone. That's it.
Takes me to me. I'm disappointed to report that my goal of having been the 1,000th person to support the petition in support of our SOC campus failed, because as of right now we're at 1,079. So I sat around all day waiting for the opening, but we are now well over 1,000, on our way to 1,100. So I'll just go ahead and like it and support it. Tomorrow we have our hearing. There's a public hearing tomorrow night with the Capistrano Unified School District. Some of you will have seen that there's an MOU on the agenda tomorrow. I would encourage people to participate in the same civil and respectful tone that we used last time. Our parents, it was really amazing. It was impactful watching our parents speak up there and our teachers speak, because your passion and your conviction and your belief in the school came through clearly, and it was not laced with any sort of ad hominem attacks on anybody, and I don't think that that fell on deaf ears. So to those that are showing up again tomorrow night, I strongly encourage you to participate, be positive, tell them why the school is important, tell them why they should consider taking action to not revoke, because it is heard. That's all I have to say. Oh, and I second Mr. Jackson's beautiful verse.
And I was first on the, I think I did the first one. I was number 1.
Duly noted.
Good job.
Comments from the interim executive director.
No comments at this time.
All right, that takes us to item D, comments from the audience on items not on the agenda. The public, including the public attending a teleconference location, are invited to address the board regarding items not listed on the agenda. No individual presentation shall be more than 3 minutes, and the total time for this purpose shall not exceed 15 minutes. Ordinarily, the board members will not respond to presentations, and no action can be taken. However, the board may give direction to staff following a presentation. Please turn your comment card into the board secretary prior to this agenda item. Do we have any comment cards? All right. Takes us to E, items scheduled for consent. We have the personnel report and to the revised pay schedule for hourly and non-exempt salary employees as recommended by XED to more closely align with the middle and end of month payments. As recommended, the board of directors approve items scheduled for consent. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? This motion passes unanimously. Takes us to F, items for discussion and or action. 1, Paychex Flex Timekeeping HRIS Program. The board will be asked to discuss and may consider approval of the addition and implementation of Paychex Flex, a digital time clock system to accurately assist with position control, labor code requirements, labor management, and payroll. At this time, Paychex processes our current payroll through XED, presented by Kathleen Doherty.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about this, and then I'm going to ask Osvaldo to talk about this too. What this does is this makes in digital format some of the processes that we now do by hand, including sign-in, sign-out sheets, looking at time clocks when people check in and check out, looking at timesheets for hourly employees that have to keep a timesheet, and also for positions, including keeping positions with the salary schedule attached to the position and the person assigned to that position. So it is more of a digital format that does accounting and position control and supports our payroll
and makes it easier for employees to be able to check their hours and go in and take a look at what they've done. It also makes it easier for our back office to be able to process payroll requests using this system. It does come at an extra cost of approximately, I think, between $800 and $900 a month for both of the schools, not individually. And it is one step closer to being more into the 21st century with our Human Resources Department. So, Osvaldo, can I turn it over to you?
Yes, thank you. So I just want to bring something to the board's attention. This morning we actually had our third-party auditors, our external auditors, and they reviewed our payroll. They actually found one error that was due to manual input based on charter impact.
Is
Now,
this the white?
this is White Nelson, correct.
The auditing firm is.
Our auditing firm, White Nelson.
Got it.
And this could have been prevented if we had this system. What this system does is basically provides the employees with the flexibility to actually input their hours, and then of course their supervisors actually approve that time. And what is happening right now is that there's a lot of manual input, and of course there's manual input on our side, and as we provided to our back office, there's additional manual input. So what we want to do by implementing this is to ensure that we have a system in place that eliminates that margin of error for manual input. And I believe that the price of $9,864 is very reasonable. This is an annual fee, is not a monthly fee, but an annual. And just both the efficiencies that it's going to provide to the organization and the reduction of errors definitely is worth the amount.
So based on my time on the board,
We don't have a motion.
what?
We need a motion.
Oh, before I can talk about it.
Oh, there's discussion without a motion? All right, never mind.
So, Osvaldo, based on my experience so far, it seems like this is the first time that they found an issue at all. Our auditors, right?
I wouldn't know about
Yeah, I'm
previous.
telling you based on my recollection that we've not had our auditors discover anything.
And most likely this item might not show. It was just an input error. And as I was talking to the managing partner, she actually brought me to this issue. This will not necessarily be reflected in the audited financials, just because of audited financials, of course, as you know, they just reflect the financial position of the organization.
Yeah.
And address very specific overall items.
Well, where I was
this-
going with this is,
So
if
what I'm
if
saying
we never
is-
found it before, we're coming to this thing with a $10,000 a year solution. Is the issue a $10,000 a year problem? And I'm not, I don't know the answer to it, but I'm
It's,
hesitant to sign up for a $10,000 annuity
I understand.
to address an issue that, this is the
And,
first one we've had.
This is definitely bringing efficiencies to the organization. Right now, what we have is our current HR coordinator is doing a lot of this activities by hand, and this, of course, requires hours involved in putting together the document, then providing it to in the past chart impact, now exit. And what we want to do is we want to be more efficient as far as processing payroll is concerned.
Will those hours be redeployed elsewhere, or will that position be cut back? What's the anticipation there?
Well, that's actually part of as we are moving forward and automizing. Definitely, we are being more. We can redirect the efforts of the staff into a different items or have reduction of positions. But I'm not necessarily saying that just because we have this will do away without one of the positions per se, but definitely we want to be more efficient, that's for sure.
What was the magnitude of the error that the auditors discovered today?
It was based on a number of hours that it was input into vacation, and it was those vacation hours were provided to another person. So and it was not done by malice, but it was just a keen error. But unfortunately, that's what happens whenever we have manual systems.
Just to your point, Mr. Jackson, just from my experience as an auditor, that they're not necessarily going to find everything. So just because they haven't found it in the past, we don't know how rampant these types of issues may be. I'm a big proponent of automation, I should say. I think you used the wrong word first. I'm a big proponent of automation and reducing manual work that can be done by computers and biometrics and everything else that this kind of system provides. I think that particularly if you can take those employee hours that are being utilized to do this very manual, labor-intensive process and use them somewhere else where it makes more sense. I'm in favor of this type of solution.
How many people are going to be on it?
If I can.
Everybody.
If
Well,
if
the
I
teacher-
can just do a really quick input of some information, this doesn't eliminate a position. This simply automates it and makes better use of the people that we have. And this is a system, not necessarily paychecks per se, but similar systems are being used across districts and across charter schools right now as an assist in making sure that of the accuracy of the information that we're submitting. It still has to have the oversight of a human to be able to make sure that things are entered correctly and that the information is being moved forward.
No,
correctly.
I didn't mean to intimate that
No, I know-
that
I
it
know
would
that,
eliminate
but-
a position. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
time could be better spent somewhere else.
Absolutely, yeah.
where there could be some sort of automation here and a higher accuracy level, particularly with the workforce as large as this organization's. It's actually surprising to me that we don't have some sort of automated time clock in place already.
But
Yeah.
I think I don't think it's for, how many people are going to be on it?
180.
180? Because I didn't feel like
Yeah,
we had that many.
I think that this
This
was
just
the,
feels heavy to me. $900 a month feels like a lot of money.
and I'm not asking you to approve this tonight. What I'm asking for is a discussion. If you want to direct us to move forward and actually talk about what our specific needs are and see what that looks like as far as a price, we can do that. Or we can just kind of let us continue on with what we're doing now and bring this back at a later time to see how we can be more efficient.
Okay, great. And has somebody spoken to XED to see if this integrates directly with their
This
payroll?
is,
This does.
this is their system.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's a paycheck system.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Right.
Got it.
That
Okay.
was why this came up, because they use the paycheck system already.
So are we looking for you looking for some direction?
I'm
there? I
looking
feel
for
like we've-
some direction from the board on whether we should continue our conversations with paychecks to see how it could be exactly beneficial to our organization and what it would look like. I think this proposal came as more or less a draft proposal.
Got it. Okay, so if I might make a motion to direct staff to look at paychecks, look at T-sheets, and look at TimeNet, and whatever other, but most of these are integrate with payroll, all the payroll systems out there.
All the
This
big
just,
ones,
To,
yeah.
to
yeah, this
look-
just feels really heavy to me, and we use.
So are you suggesting that we look at any systems that integrate with the paycheck system, because we have to have something that integrates with that system?
Yes,
Yeah. The
Yeah.
competitors to this system, basically.
Okay,
But
yeah, that's easy.
but
Could
it should be. They're not normally closed systems.
Well, could we request that we look only at those systems that integrate with XED system?
Right, and that's the paycheck system.
Because XED's software and systems may not integrate with all those different providers.
I think the time reporting, that the actual time clocks just need to interface with paychecks, because paychecks
Right.
interfaces with XED. And there's probably several different providers of time clock solutions.
I'll do some
that-
research on that.
That will work with Paychex. I think I said that right.
You said that beautifully.
If you could make a note of that I need to do some research and bring it back.
Do you want to make that motion then, Raymond? Mr. Jackson?
Yes, what I said plus what Josh said.
Plus what Ms. Doherty said?
Plus what, yep. So, yeah, I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to look at Paychecks, T-Sheets, TimeNet, and then whatever other time clock providers there are that integrate with Paychecks, which will ultimately deliver the data. I'd be very surprised, because this is all, basically this data comes out that's what XED uses to process payroll.
That is
So,
correct.
Yeah, so I'd be very surprised if they said, look, there's only one option for us to automate timesheets. I'd be surprised about that.
I'll second that motion.
All right.
Is it okay if I bring that back at the August meeting?
That'd be fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, item 2, approve amended 2018.
Mr. Chairman, we didn't vote on that.
Oh, sorry.
You
don't have to if we direct the staff.
Yeah,
We don't have to
Oh, we don't
vote.
have to vote because we had a second. Gotcha.
it's not an action item.
Item 2,
I got confused by the motion.
approve, I got thrown off then too. 2, approve amended 2018-19 budgets for SOC and SD. Oxford Preparatory Academy is required to adopt the final budget for the upcoming fiscal year by July 1 of each year, including a projection of the upcoming year and subsequent 2 fiscal years, demonstrating fiscal solvency throughout. The board adopted the budgets on June 28, 2018, prepared by Charter Impact. Further review indicates some discrepancies in multi-year projections which have been corrected. Presented by Oswaldo Diaz.
What you have in front of you is the revised budget based on additional comments that we received both from OCDE and Capistrano Unified. This budget reflects 2 major changes. One of them is
What kind of changes? I'm sorry.
it's 2 major changes.
2 major changes. Sorry.
Major changes. One of them is the salary increase on the out years on the forecast. As you can see in the different columns, definitely we have current budget, and then we have forecast. And what we found out was that the salary increases for the forecast, and that would be everything from fiscal year 2019 all the way through fiscal year 2013, did not include and reflected the 1.5% increases that we had on the admin and classified staff. That was actually provided back to Charter Impact to recalculate the numbers, and those numbers are now being reflected on the forecast of those 5 years. In addition to that, Capistrano Unified mentioned about the one-time revenue that did not reflect the final number that was included in the May revise of the governor's budget. So what we requested Charter Impact was also to make that correction as well, which they did. In addition to that, Charter Impact reviewed both the STIRS and PERS calculation. Capistrano Unified had some questions regarding the STIRS increase that was only 10% compared to the certificated salaries increases by 16% overall. So the rates were actually reviewed, both in STIRS and PERS, and those are correctly calculated, and it's being more of the positions that we are adding and subtracting as well. So these are the only changes that were incorporated into the budget that you already approved back on the end of June.
Okay, any discussion? It is recommended the Board of Directors approve the amended 2018-19 budgets for SOC and SV. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Mary, looking at you.
I'm here.
Do you have a vote for the budget, the SOC and SV revised budget?
I vote yes.
Okay, great.
This motion passes unanimously. Item 3, update on CUSD public hearing as a part of the SOC revocation process. The board will discuss the upcoming required public hearing scheduled for the CUSD Board of Trustees relating to their June 20th vote to move forward in the SOC revocation process, presented by Kathleen Doherty.
So this is a quick update on what's going to be happening tomorrow. As you're aware, the CUSD board voted to begin the revocation process on June 20th. Part of the requirement is that they have a public hearing within 30 days. The board may take no action, their board may take no action on any of the items that are presented at that time. This is simply an informational piece in a public hearing, at which point the district will present information and we will be presenting information. And they will take comments from the public as well on anybody who wishes to speak. And then the interesting piece and the really positive piece about the meeting for tomorrow is there was a new agenda item that was added to that, which is was put on there by Trustee Reardon. And it is a discussion relating to the consideration of an MOU, although this is not an action item, it is simply a discussion item. It is an alternative to revocation, and it is an item that we are now discussing with CUSD, and our hope is that after our presentation tomorrow and the board hears, that they will direct the administration to work with us to develop an MOU that is acceptable to both parties in lieu of a revocation that will guarantee us at SOC being open for at least a year or until we can start the renewal process. We have prepared a slideshow, and it is up if you want to see it. It is comprised of 9 slides. Not a lot of slides because we only have 10 minutes. And it is very specific and to the point. It identifies the items that they have identified. And wherever you see a green done and an underline, that means that that activity has been completed or that issue has been completed, and we will be giving them evidence tomorrow in relationship to that, so that they will receive a packet tomorrow. If it's blue and in progress, that means that we're in the middle of doing it and that we have yet to complete that item. And the final slide is a summary of all of our accomplishments in a different format. Huh? That is, yeah. That's our last slide. It's a very quick slideshow. We know how fast time goes when you're standing up at the podium.
Kathy, did we provide them a copy of the Chino? What is it? They want the bank statements or the check registry, or what do they want?
On the Chino expenses, what they're not asking for that at this moment in time. With this piece of it, they're asking for a letter from the district, which we have and will provide with them with the packet that we give them tomorrow, that shows that the school has been closed and that there are no further expenses coming from CVUSD in respect to any campus changes that we need to make or items that we need to accomplish in order to not have anything more to do with the CVUSD school district.
Okay, just because I remember some Chino statements seem to be coming up a lot. It seemed like a basic request, but I didn't see it on our list of things.
And this is a summary of the items. This slideshow was developed based on the document that they have put forward on the items that they're going to talk about. So this is a summary of those pieces, and so each one of the bullet points that you see there addresses one of the concerns that they have, for which they have said this is what we want to see. And so instead of just listing the concern now, they've actually itemized this is what we want to see. So each of those bullet points addresses those things.
You don't have a lot of time. Are you going to elaborate on any of the in-progress items, or?
Very briefly. Our hope is that all of these components that you see on the slideshow will be contained in the MOU as specific, so that when we can make some agreement on what is inside the MOU and how it's going to be met, we will have a timeline that says this is the point at which we agree we can have this artifact to you and what it's going to look like.
Is there a leave behind for the trustees? Is that the concept, or am I mistaken?
Jim Reardon has been instrumental in getting this moved forward and actually put on the agenda, and it is on the agenda, and he will be facilitating the conversation around it, so his name is attached to it.
But are we going to leave them, status of these things, or is that just part of the MOU process?
The status will always be deferred to the staff, and the staff will update their board members.
Understood.
I believe if they have questions, they will ask us too, right, Kathy?
They will ask us this, unlike other times where presentations have been made, they are asking us to stay up front so that any of the board members can ask questions after we do our presentation on any of these specific items, and then we are free to answer that. They have also asked how many representatives we will have speaking from the organization itself, not necessarily all the parent supporters or family supporters, but rather the staff, because they want to save seats up front, and they would like us sitting up front in those seats.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments?
I just wanted to say that this is a great opportunity for us, and it's a very positive step forward.
All right. Item 4, WASC accreditation for SV and SOC. The board will receive information on the WASC, Western Association of Schools and Colleges, accreditation value and process, discuss implications and future plans of WASC accreditation for the SV and SOC campuses.
This was an item that this item has been brought up multiple times by CUSD in regards to the intent to be WASC accredited. WASC accreditation typically is high school. It often is K-12 districts. It is more common among charter schools to have WASC accreditation if they are 9 through 12 or 7 through 12. But there are 2 schools in the Capistrano Unified School District that are K-8 schools that also are WASC accredited. And it was mentioned that it would be nice if we could also be WASC accredited, since statements had been made several years ago that we were going to be moving forward with that. So what I have presented for you is the link to the WASC website, which has the steps outlined. I have included a PowerPoint which goes through the different pieces and parts, and I've also included the improvement process and what it's for. And this accreditation is powerful in the sense that it validates everything that we're doing, and makes us stand out as having a program that is now recognized by the WASC accreditation team, or the California or the national. So it's not a bad thing. It's time consuming. It does cost money in the sense of the application process and getting people released to be able to fill out the responses that are necessary and doing the visitations. But the end result is that the school can be accredited for 3 years up to 6 years. And again, it's a banner that you get to hang that says WASC accredited. So it's yet one more thing to be able to be proud of. Currently, there are no non-charter schools in Capistrano that have WASC accreditation other than the high schools. So I wanted to bring that up. But again, it is a very common thing for charters to have that accreditation, or at least some charters to have that accreditation. And all high schools have that accreditation. Otherwise, their classes don't count for the students that are graduating in the different categories.
And we were WASC at one point, right?
SOC was.
SOC was, and then they lost it because the process wasn't entered into. So CAPA would like to see us do that again.
It was FICMAT.
Because of FIGMAT.
It was because
It was of the
Oh, FIGMAT said that?
board.
No, it was action taken in response to FICMA.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
There you go. So are you looking, so this is a discussion topic, or are you looking for some direction from the board?
It's a discussion topic and direction from the board. If this is something you would like us to pursue, we can begin that process. It's a very lengthy process, and it really has to start now to be accredited in the possibility of probationary accreditation in the spring.
In terms of the financial costs, what are we looking at, ballpark?
I don't know the answer to that. I would have to look it up. I don't think it's huge.
Okay.
So I would like to make a motion then to direct staff to get that additional information, including timelines, resource commitments, cost, that sort of
Okay.
thing, so we can talk about it in August.
Would it be appropriate to have the WASC accreditation for both campuses?
I don't know why it wouldn't be, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right now, it's just the capital board that has been asking for it, or actually the staff. But it makes sense if we're going to be going through the process that we do it for both schools at the same time.
Agreed. Okay. Item 5, approve Young Mini, I'm sorry, was there any further discussion on that? Okay. Item 5, approve Young Mini and Core LLP legal services invoice. The board is required to approve any expenditures that exceed $15,000. The invoice from Young Mini and Core LLP for legal services performed in June 2018 in the amount of $15,778.13 is brought to the board for consideration. It is recommended the board of directors approve payment of the Young Mini and Core LLP legal service invoice. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve, and then Osvaldo, if you could include me on the correspondence that you have with their staff about the discount,
Yes.
that'd be great.
Yes, I will.
Super, thank you.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, any discussion?
The numbers are transposed. It should be SV 224.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to bring you aware.
Okay. Before you make that approval, just as an informational piece, the SOC and SV numbers are flipped.
Oh, that
It
was gonna
should
make a
be
lot of sense
SV
there.
that's $224 and SOC that is $14,581.
That makes more sense.
Okay.
I was
I
gonna
was to say, wow.
I was
This
gonna
campus
ask,
was
but-
busy and I
Yeah.
did not know.
When did we get this stamp?
We've had it for a while. and
Well, whoever found it and started using it, thank you for them. Thank you to them.
Okay. Since there's no discussion, there is a motion that has been seconded to approve payment of the Young Mini and Core LLP legal services invoice. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Was that a yes from Mary?
Mary, is that a yes from you? Young Mini and Core invoice?
Ms. Campos?
Oh, she don't know.
Believe we may have lost Ms. Campos, so
just-
this motion passes 4-0 with one board member in absentia. Okay, item 6, approve annual Elite Modular Lease invoice. The board is required to approve any expenditures that exceed $15,000. The annual invoice from Elite Modular Leasing and Sales for portables at the SOC campus in the amount of $22,500 is brought to the board for consideration. Bless you. It is and bless you. Recommended the board of directors approve the payment of the Elite Modular Leasing and Sales annual invoice.
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Can I just ask, these are the classroom modular, not the storage bins?
That's correct.
Okay,
I believe this is the science lab and the band room.
okay. All right, any further discussion?
Yes.
Who, it says attention Chris Marcus, so should we have it now attention to Osvaldo?
Yes, we'll make that correction with them.
So he's aware of all these invoices coming in as well?
Yes.
And we don't get any surprises?
That's a good idea.
All right. Mr. Teeple, were you gonna, or Mr. Jackson, were you gonna say something?
Yes, I would. Is there any way for us to, there seems like we have lots of portables, and we also have lots of containers with storage things in them. Some of those are 40-foot containers. And so it would be great if we could know like how many containers we have there, what's in them, what are the contracts associated with them. This isn't related to this necessarily. I'm just saying, if we could direct staff to produce how many portables we have, what are the terms, when do the contracts expire, that kind of thing, both here and for SOC.
Are you talking about the mobile units that we use as classrooms, or are you talking about the storage facility
Mobile units that we use as classrooms, mobile units that we use as restrooms, and the containers. They're just straight up shipping containers that are down there.
Yes, that is correct. At SOC, we actually have on the neighborhood of 4 containers, 3 up front and 1 in the back. And we will definitely provide that information, both the number of containers that we and portables that we have, the amounts that we're paying, and we'll have to conduct an inventory of what we have inside those containers.
Yeah, well, that might be a bigger conversation, but because this isn't specific, so I'm assuming that this is for all the shipping containers that are at SOC. Okay, so what is this for? Is this for just one shipping container?
No, this isn't the shipping containers. These are the classrooms.
Those are the classrooms.
Remember the science lab? where we
Oh
come
yeah,
out
yeah.
for our
Okay, great.
Closed session.
Thank you for that.
Do we own those shipping containers? Or are we leasing those?
I believe we're leasing them.
No,
Okay.
we
Yes.
lease them, and I think it's $55,000 a year for
the
4 of those. Yeah, and
We
so
just
we
go
need.
over there with a lock, break it open and see what the heck's
Well,
in
it's just I want to figure out what's in there and what are we paying for it, how many are there, that kind of thing.
Excuse me, Katie knows what's in them.
Dennis can help vouch for this as well. There is textbooks that we actually categorized and counted in one of the bins, as well as like some sound equipment. In another bin, a lot of it is the Honor Society materials. They call it the Disneyland bin because everything goes in there. Another one has desks and tables and chairs that are not being used in classrooms. And the last one is the PE bin that has all of Coach Barton's materials because he does not have any storage in his location.
You also have 1 bin. So you have 4 bins on the right side of the campus, 1 bin and a user. You have a furniture bin, Honor Society, which stores all of our art for this month, mechanical bin, which has all of our plastic bins for discounts.
It's always reassuring to hear that we have a chemical bin. It's always reassuring to know we have a chemical bin.
Yes, it's lovely. It's phenomenal.
It's chemical fuel.
And then the book bin as well.
Well, I guess that mystery solved. Okay.
So, is Mr. Jackson correct that those 4 bins cost, or 5 bins cost $55,000 a year?
I don't have the amount with me. I can research it and come back.
Okay.
Because I bet we could buy 5 40-foot containers.
Yeah, that seems exorbitant.
Yep. They might say, Joe's shipping line on the side, but it'd be okay.
You own some containers you're trying to get rid of?
eBay.
1090, you can't do it. All right. Number 7, Momney Cafe invoice. Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't vote to approve. We had a motion, we have a second. The motion is to approve payment of the Elite Modular Leasing and Sales annual invoice. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We get a yes from Ms. Campos?
No, she's not. She's going straight to voicemail now.
Okay. All those opposed? This motion passes 4-0 with 1 member in abstention. Number 7 is the Momney Cafe invoice. The board is required to approve any expenditures that exceed $15,000. These invoices from Momney Cafe for services performed in June 2018 in the amount of $20,691.62 is brought to the board for consideration. It is recommended the board of directors approve payment of the Momney Cafe invoice. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? This motion passes 4-0. We'd now like to move that we return to close. For disconnected. That we return to closed session to finish the conversation that we had initiated but did not finish as we're running late. So we will return to closed session at 7:40. The board returns to open session at 9:27 p.m. with nothing to report. Item 4 on the agenda is adjournment. It is recommended the board of directors adjourn the regular meeting for July 10th, 2018. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All those
I
in favor-
second.
Thank you, Ms. Campos. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
This motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned.